Now, this is how you exploit a tragedy for political gain. Welcome to another installment of the Connecticut Gun Bench. Today's video is brought to you by P.A.N. Firearms, LLC, P.A.N. Firearms, for your NRA certification and multifaceted gun training, also offering aerial photography and drone services. You can reach us at 203-300-6343 or use our website at www.panfirearmsllc.com. As always, there'll be a link in the description box below. But let's talk about this here. And this, I wish I could say, was going to be light and jovial, but it is not. As we know about the situation in Uvalde, Texas, it is just a shame and heartbreaking. But there are those out there. Well, let me be clear about something. I'm not making a video specifically about that event. I'm going to tell you why. Because I am sick and tired of those who politicize it. I'm sick and tired of how quickly people are to politicize this, and what happens in the politicization of it is that the victims are just, they become pawns and they become forgotten. I personally do not care what the implement is that is used to injure, murder, or what mar another human being. I don't care, because it is irrelevant. 5 people being killed by a man driving an SUV running into them is no different to me than what happened in Ulvade. It is death, it is horrific, and it hurts all the way across the board. That is why I will not do a video on that specific event. But I am going to talk about this, because this is disgusting. While Governor Greg Abbott was doing his press conference, Beto O'Rourke, candidate for the governorship seat, obviously Democrat, I assume a lot of you know who he is, decided to use that moment to politicize the event by attacking Abbott. Now I have that video here. I'm going to play that video, and then the next video is going to run right after that. Is going to show him outside of that event talking to reporters. So let's watch that.
Excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse me.
Was after Santa Fe High School.
Sit down. Don't pull a stunt.
Hey,
Was after El Paso.
sit down and don't play this
Stop
stuff.
the next shooting is right now, and you are doing nothing.
No,
you're offering
you
us
need to get
nothing.
his ass out of here.
You
This
said
isn't
this
the
is
place
not
to talk this
predictable.
over.
This is totally predictable when you choose
Sir, you're
not
out of
to
line.
do anything. to
Sir,
save the
you are out of line.
kids. I'm standing
Sir,
up for the
you
kids
are out
in
of
the
line.
state
Please
to
leave
stop
this
from
auditorium.
happening
So you
again.
can exit. I can't believe you're a sick son of a bitch that would come to a deal like this to make a political issue.
This is not the place to do that. I've talked to the parents in El Paso. I've talked to the parents at Santa Fe High School. I've talked to the parents in Midland, Odessa. They want us to do something right now. I want us to do something right now. We can do something right now. But if we continue to accept this, then it is on us. It's not just the governor's fault. It is on us. I'm not going to accept it. So I'm here. I'm calling attention to this, and I'm asking all Texans of good conscience, and I could care less whether you're a Republican, a Democrat, or an independent, to stand up right now for yourself, for your kids, for our families, and to stop the next shooting just like this one.
And what do you say, what do you say to Texas Governor Greg Abbott, who says now is not the time?
18-year-old kid doesn't have a driver's license, can't buy a beer.
He should not have been able to buy an AR-15 right there. Do you want a solution? Stop selling AR-15s in the state of Texas. You want a solution? Have universal background checks. We don't have them. You want a solution? Red flag laws or extreme risk protection orders, which stop a shooting before it happens. You want a solution? Safe storage laws. Those are 4 solutions that have been brought up by the people of Texas. Each one of those has broad bipartisan support right now. We could get that done if we had a governor who cared more about the people of Texas than he does his own political career or his fealty to the NRA. And if you need any proof of that, check the schedule for the NRA's convention this Friday right here in the state of Texas. 5 of the worst mass shootings in U.S. history right in this state on his watch. What does he do about it? He goes to the NRA convention to brag about how easy he has made it to purchase guns in this state and to carry them publicly without a background check, without any training or vetting whatsoever. It is absolutely wrong. In fact, it is insane. The governor talks about mental health. It is insane that we allow an 18-year-old to go in and buy an AR-15. What the hell did we think he was going to do with that? This one is on us.
And what do you say to Texas Governor Greg Abbott, who says now is not the time to make this political?
Now is the time to stop the next shooting. Right after Santa Fe High School was the time to stop the next shooting. Right after El Paso was the time to stop the next shooting. Right after Midland, Odessa was the time to stop the next shooting. And in each case, we say this isn't the time. Now is the time, like literally right now. That's why I'm here. That's what we want as a state. That's what I want as a parent. I've got 3 kids who are in high school and middle school and elementary school. That's what they want. And I face their judgment and my conscience and ultimately my maker for what I do when I have the chance to change this. And I'm going to do everything in my power to change this. And I am not alone. The majority of Texas is with us on this right now. The majority of Texas is not reflected by that governor or those people around the table who talk about mental health care or say that this is pure evil or that it was absolutely unpredictable. This is predictable. It will happen, and it will continue to happen until we change course. We've got to change course.
Now you saw that, you heard that. I thought it was disgusting. That was not the place to do that. That was not the place to do something like that. That is a disgrace. Absolute disgrace. Of course, the left is jumping up and down saying, oh, he's showing his spine and he's this, oh, this is what more Democrats need to do. Well, I'm going to tell you, if you want to look like a fool, hey, that's the thing to do. Go follow his example, because he literally stepped on the bodies of dead people for his own political gain. Now, I'm going to get to why I'm saying it. Once again, I don't make statements without receipts. So I'm just going to go through here. This is CBS News. And the title is O'Rourke interrupts news conference to confront Abbott on Ulvade shooting. And go down to here. A Wednesday afternoon news conference to update the community about the deadly mass shooting at Uvalde Elementary School erupted into a political firestorm. Greg Abbott was there to just give information on what was happening. That's it. O'Rourke showed up there to basically get brownie points for his governor's race. And I will show you why. Democrat candidate for Governor Beto O'Rourke, his actual name is Robert. He uses Beto because he thinks he's Hispanic. Cultural appropriation, but whatever. Stood up and confronted Greg Abbott and other Republican leaders about gun restrictions. CBS News correspondent Janet Shamalian sat right before the news conference began. O'Rourke came in to sit in a seat saved by one of his campaign staff members. That was staged. They went there specifically to do that. He staged that event. Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick was about to speak when he saw O'Rourke and said, excuse me, you're out of line and an embarrassment. Uvalde Mayor Don McLaughlin yelled at O'Rourke, sir, you're out of line. Sir, you're out of line. Please leave this auditorium. I can't believe you're a 6 SOB that would come to a deal like this to make a political issue. Officers escorted O'Rourke out of the Civic Center. O'Rourke repeatedly tried to tell Governor Abbott and other Republican leaders that the deadly mass shooting are predictable and that this is on them unless they change policy. I don't see how it's predictable. You cannot predict what another human being is going to do unless they tell you straight out, this is what I'm going to do. Because the story behind that is very interesting, how he managed to get there and how it evolved into him being at the school. But when O'Rourke spoke with reporters outside afterwards, he said, what would prevent these shootings if the state banned the sale of AR-15s, had universal background checks and red flag laws and extreme risk protective orders? Now, let's talk about that part there because that's very interesting. The ban on the sale of AR-15s would not have prevented that. What if he went in there with a handgun? Okay, so right away, he's grandstanding. But had universal background checks. They always say this. What is a universal background check and how is it different from the NICS system, National Instant Check System, that we use now? They can't tell you because they don't know. And red flag laws and extreme risk protective orders, which are a violation of the 4th and 6th Amendments to the Constitution. Governor Abbott responded to O'Rourke after he left the news conference. Quote, there are family members whose hearts are broken. There's no words anybody shouting can come up here and do anything. We need all Texans in this one moment in time. Put aside their personal agendas. Think of somebody other than ourselves. Think of the people who are hurt and help those who have been hurt. That is classy. O'Rourke told reporters, now is the time to stop the next shooting. Right after Santa Fe High School was the time to stop the next shooting. Right after Midland, Odessa was the next time to stop the next shooting. In each case, we say that this isn't the time. Now is the time, like literally right now. That's why I'm here. No, that's not why he was there. I'm going to show you later. Governor Abbott and Senator Ted Cruz are scheduled to address the NRA convention this Friday in Houston. Senator Cruz told CBS 11 anchor Ken Molestina Wednesday afternoon that he intends to go to the convention and that Democrats often demonize lawful gun owners. That's pretty much what happens every time these kind of events happen. It's not the criminal. They don't focus on the criminal. They focus on the item that the criminal used, and it has to be very specific. They would be clear about that. And then anyone who owns that specific item is now a criminal in their eyes. We've asked Governor Abbott's office if he's still going to address the NRA members, but we haven't heard back yet. Okay, now, as I said, O'Rourke did this for brownie points, for political brownie points. And I'm going to show you why. Because he has flip-flopped repeatedly on these gun issues. Here is the presidential debate of 2019. And I'm going to play that for the one section, and obviously the most important section, where he clearly says there's going to be a mandatory buyback program and we're going to take your AR-15 and AK-47. Let's watch that.
El Paso is your hometown. Some on this stage have suggested a voluntary buyback for guns in this country. You've gone further. You said, quote, Americans who own AR-15s and AK-47s will have to sell them to the government, all of them. You know, the critics call this confiscation. Are you proposing taking away their guns, and how would this work?
I am, if it's a weapon that was designed to kill people on a battlefield. If the high impact, high velocity round, when it hits your body, shreds everything inside of your body because it was designed to do that so that you would bleed to death on a battlefield and not be able to get up and kill one of our soldiers. When we see that being used against children, and in Odessa, I met the mother of a 15-year-old girl who was shot by an AR-15, and that mother watched her bleed to death over the course of an hour because so many other people were shot by that AR-15 in Odessa and Midland. There weren't enough ambulances to get to them in time. Hell yes, we're gonna take your AR-15, your AK-47. We're not gonna allow it to be used against our fellow Americans anymore.
Now, let's go to the 2019 in his Senate race when he leaves 2019. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's the same year when he ran for the Senate. Because remember, he dropped out of the presidential race after like the first primary because he didn't get anywhere. So he decided, oh, I've lost this bid for the presidency, so I should run for the Senate. Okay. But this is what he said, 2019 running for the Senate in the state of Texas.
While campaigning in Tyler, Texas earlier this week, O'Rourke says if elected governor, he wouldn't take away those guns.
I'm not interested in taking anything from anyone. What I want to make sure that we do is defend the Second Amendment. I want to make sure that we protect our fellow Texans far better than we're doing right now.
You saw that. You heard that. Now he's running for governor. Now he's going back to his original position of we are going to just basically ban all these so-called weapons of war, assault weapons, which is the dumbest terms in a long time, but hey, propaganda is alive and well. But I want to play this little clip here. I just want to get this little bit in where he was, once again, this was 2019 when he was, this was after the first presidential debate. And I want you to listen to this little section right here.
Yeah, no, I see people doing it right now. And, you know, someone referenced this last night, but you look back at the civil rights movement. You look back to the A&T4 in Greensboro, February 1, 1960, sitting at that Woolworth's lunch counter. They really kind of shocked the conscience of the country. How else does a white majority in 1964 pass the Civil Rights Act? The next year, the Voting Rights Act. They just engaged the conscience of so many of our fellow Americans, white and black, to do the right thing, to put pressure on their members of Congress to override the filibusters that were employed at the time. I think it's going to be something like that. There's no one person as the next president of the United States who's going to make this happen. It is those grassroots grassroots groups like Moms Demand, March for Our Lives. It's those students walking out of their classrooms like they did in Birmingham in 1963, who are forcing the conversation in this country right now. And then you have somebody in the White House who reflects that deep urgency and desire for change, and that's what I'm going to do.
Now you heard that. Every time these people bring up the minority community, there is nothing more dangerous to the black community than a white liberal. Malcolm X knew it. He clearly knew it. Notice how he talks about the wars counter sit-in and the abuse these people took. And then we had white people step up and change the law and brought forward voting rights and the Civil Rights Act. But notice what he didn't say in that? You notice what he missed completely? What party voted against both? What party voted against the Voting Rights Act, not only for women and blacks? Who voted against it? What party? What party voted against the Civil Rights Act? What party tried to filibuster the Civil Rights Act? Those of you who are in the know, I don't have to tell you. But it's funny how he brings that up and leaves out that key point. Now, why do I say that he did this for political brownie points? He is behind, and I will leave this, bring it up here. Quinnipiac poll puts him double digits behind Abbott in the governor's race in Texas. Double digits. It hasn't changed since he said, I'm going to run for governor. It has been double digits from that moment. That's why he did it. He is trying to score political brownie points. That's why he jumped up in the middle of the conference that Abbott was having. That's why he went out to speak to the reporters. And every time he invokes the name of the families and everything else, and I spoke to the families. No, you didn't, you lying son of a... Look, he is doing this because he is way behind in the governor's race. He has already gotten 2 failed political campaigns. That's why he did it. And to all these leftist journalists out there saying that this is a moment, I remember one guy was saying that this is the spine that Democrats need and Beto shows some real chutzpah. No, Beto did this for Beto. Period. Am I a little upset? Yeah, I'm sick and tired of the exploitation of the dead for nothing more than personal gain politically. And we've seen it time and time again. I did a video on it. Buffalo, New York. President was there in 12 hours. Waukesha, Wisconsin. President couldn't be bothered to go. I don't have to tell you why. But let me know what you think. As always, you can leave your comments in the comments section below. And as always, any statements of violence or statements that lead to violence will be removed. Please like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you're notified the next time a video goes live. And I will see you on the next one. Peace.